Hi, welcome back. I'm Judy from Raw and Green Wellness Coaching.
And I'm Yuki from Ordinary Family Food and Life.
And together we are
Digby
Busi Talk.
We did it.
We had to practice that.
Okay.
All
so
right.
Let's get going. Today's topic.
Budgeting and pricing. How do you know how much to charge and how not to undersell yourself?
That's right. Yeah, that's a tricky one. Yes.
As a small business owner, especially if you're a solopreneur, oftentimes you are so worried about, I need this job, I need it, that you will undercharge and it'll actually end up costing you money to do something. It's very common to end up having your hard costs covered, but your time isn't. So you have to be honest about what you need to charge in order to get paid for your time.
Another side of that, the reality is many people worry, well, if the price is so high, it's not going to be sold, and then you kind of try to.
Yeah, so there's a tension. There's a tension, absolutely.
I totally understand.
It is, and sometimes you will look at it, and unless you can get costs down in some other way, your idea for a business just may not be viable at this point in time, or in the location that you're wanting to do it.
Yes, yes. So from where are we going to start?
Well, actually, can I tell my story?
Sure.
Okay, this is so funny. This is my very first entrepreneurial effort, and I'm sure people can relate to this. So I think I was probably about 7 years old, and it was a hot summer day, and my girlfriend and I decided that we wanted to open a lemonade stand. You know, isn't that what every child does?
That's right.
So I went to the kitchen and Mom said sure, and I got, you know, the lemons and the sugar and the water and all of her cups and everything, and we set up a little lemonade stand, and we did a fabulous job of selling, and we sold out, and then we cleaned everything up, and I, in my naivety, just split the profits between myself and my friend. And when I got back to the house, Mom said, okay, so here's the list of your supplies. You owe me this much money for the sugar and the lemons and all the input costs. So as a 7-year-old, I wasn't thinking about that.
Right. Clever mom. Yeah.
Very clever mom, and a lesson that I have learned and took to heart.
And that's the reality, right?
That's the reality, exactly. Yeah.
But your story actually contains a very good component. Many people start business, a small one, that's fine, yeah. But they take a look around and then say, let's say you want to sell something at the market.
Yeah.
And, oh, people are selling these things for that much of money. So that's the price.
Right.
So you start from there. But have you really calculated? It's really making money to you.
That's right.
Right? It's not just the cost for the table. Yes, for the money for the supply and transportation, gas, and then if we go deeper, you have to maintain your vehicle, right?
That's right.
And quite often, well, it's a reality. Your time is not quite charged enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How much is the minimum wage in Nova Scotia now?
I think it's
12 something.
Yeah, $12.75. I think. Yeah. Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. Most entrepreneurs or small businesses start off not even paying themselves minimum wage.
So your labor doesn't count, unfortunately.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that could just be, you know, even just the time that you're sitting at the market.
That's right.
You know, you have to factor all of this in. And if you're doing any advertising, if you're putting flyers out,
your phone,
everything factors in. And the reality is, unless you're pricing so that you can cover all of these expenses, you will not be in business for very long.
Yeah. And then, but in the reality, you cannot price very high from the beginning. If you try to cover all of the cost for 1 or 2 market days, your loaf of bread is gonna be $50 or something.
Yeah, way too expensive.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it's not realistic.
No.
So of course it's a bit exaggerated end, but you always have to keep in mind everything costs money.
Exactly. So there are 2 different types of ways of costing. One is a fixed cost, and that means that you're paying that every month whether you sell anything or not. So fixed costs would be rent,
Yeah.
phone, the maintenance on your vehicle, the
That's
vehicle
right.
insurance, any insurance you might have on your company,
Also
heat,
gas.
lights,
Yeah.
you know,
The
internet,
utility, yeah.
utilities, all of those sorts of things are fixed costs. They're going to be the same every month, whether regardless of how many people you serve.
That's right.
And then variable costs are going to depend on how many units you sell. So those would be things like if you were making jewelry, it would be the ingredients that went into the jewelry.
That's right. Packaging.
Packaging, exactly.
Yeah.
And even if you're teaching a course, like a friend of ours, when she did art classes, she had costed out for 6 people in the class.
Right.
And when she went, it was a birthday party. When she went to the class, there actually was 12. And so she lost money because there were input costs, variable costs for each student in that class. You know, the brushes, the canvas, the paints, and all of that.
Yeah.
So that brings up a couple of things. You have to be aware. And number 2, if you are doing something on a contract basis, that really what you've calculated is on a per head unit, you have to have it very, very clear in your contract that this is up to this many people, and after that is this much extra per person.
Yeah. No matter how you address it, it has to be clear.
Very clear.
There's no misunderstanding, because when you have a surprise later, it's very difficult to say, actually I have to charge more.
Yes.
They love if you say, oh, actually you can get the discount. That's wonderful.
Yes, exactly,
Yes. But,
exactly. That's a much better way
approach.
of doing
Yes,
it. Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So communication is very important.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you have to, I mean, your transportation costs and your time to get to places as well. You know, Yuki and I were talking about a course that we're teaching, and we don't have a lot of input costs. It's more our time. And but if we are to give the class here in Digby, you know, our travel costs are not high. But if we are to give our class in Yarmouth or, you know, maybe
Halifax,
or in Halifax, the travel cost is going to be considerably more, and that must be factored in, no matter how low we can try to keep it with carpooling and that sort of thing. But it is an input and a variable cost that needs to be.
Another thing popped in my mind is quite often you prepare some refreshment. It could be lunch or something.
Yeah.
And those are all costs. And then if you don't know how many people exactly coming, the chances you might have not enough or too much.
That's
and
right.
then the more you miscalculate, the damage is bigger.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And the waste.
Yeah, and the waste, and we want to avoid wasting food for sure. Yeah.
It's not easy to get that register ahead of time so perfectly. In the ideal world, yes, you want to know ahead of time, you want to get all money collected first.
That's right.
Then
That's
you are
right.
covered.
That's right.
Yes.
Right.
But especially in the beginning, you don't have that much of exposure, and quite likely we start from small amount and then get more experiences. Then people recognize you more, and then you build up your business.
Exactly.
That's a typical pattern.
Exactly.
So
yeah, and so for both Yuki and I, it's really, really important to get commitments. So when I'm teaching a class, I have a minimum number of people that I need to commit to the class before I can run it. And for Yuki, with ordering products, you know, oftentimes there's minimum dollar amounts that the suppliers require, and she has to have that, and she's not going to top it up herself.
yeah, if I do both retail or selling the products, and also I do the workshop, so I see both ends, and then they're both a bit different challenges.
Yes.
Ordering, especially this area, Digby, you have to bring things in. So there's always the risk you don't get enough order, but you promise you're going to deliver things. So if you have to pay for the transportation, for example, on the top, it comes to me.
That's right.
So how you cover that, you really have to know what you're doing.
Yes, yeah, and that brings up a really good point, because like even with my books, that because I do my books are on Amazon, and you can download them by Kindle, but you can also do print on demand. But print on demand isn't available in Canada, so you have to do it through the .com.
Okay.
And so you, for instance, I brought some in for the office, and I thought, okay, for 20 books, $35 US for shipping was a little high, but I was willing to suck that up, and I had them come. I was not prepared for an additional bill of $45 Canadian with couriers because you don't always have that upfront cost.
They charge,
So you do, and unfortunately that drives the cost of the hardcover book up. Because I have to pass that along to my customers.
That's good. So, and in the long run, it might pay off. Sometimes you have to spend some money. Promotion, you have to pay some. So hopefully, until that time you survive, and then you start making money. So then you pay off. But it's after all, it's coming back to your judgment call.
Right.
How much you can.
And where do you start, right? When you don't have historical information, it can be a challenge.
Yes.
So you just have to, it's like doing a business plan. It's best guess. It really is. It's a guessing game. I mean, you do your research and you look at competitors and what competitors are pricing. That gives you an idea what the market will bear.
And test small.
Yes, test small. Like don't bring in 100 items. You're maybe left with 99 of them.
Well, even though, say you've ordered 10 items instead of 200. Say if you get 200, you can get $1 per piece. While if you order 10, it becomes $2.50.
Right.
So you may feel, oh my goodness, that's so expensive. But what if you get 100 times $1? So $100. Well, you get 10 of $2.50, $25, and you didn't sell any.
Right.
Which damage is bigger?
Exactly.
Right. So you have to really think.
At the end of the day, what's it going to look like in your books?
That's right. And how much you are ready to lose.
Right.
Sorry to say, but how much
that's right.
Risk tolerance.
Risk tolerance.
There you go.
Yep.
Yes.
Exactly. And what do you have, like, along with risk tolerance? Do you have a buffer? Do you have a sum of money that you can use to
more flexibly.
Flexibly, line of credit or some money in the bank that you can use to kind of level some of these things out.
Interesting. I mean, it came into conversation. People have a different tolerance level.
Yes.
And some people do very well with debt. When they are pushed, they work very well. But most people don't do very well with a big debt. You don't want to have a lot of debt, and you always worry about the payment. And then most people don't perform well. So keep in mind, you always have to be aware where you are and how much you can spend comfortably. And then I think you can manage your stress well too.
That's a really good point, because I find that sometimes the organizations that you work with, as a small business owner, like Annapolis Ventures or VCDC, they are trying to set you up and help you moving forward. But sometimes they are a little too free with giving lines of credit or small loans. If you really don't need it, don't take it.
That's right.
Because any penny that you're paying on interest is not going in your pocket.
That's right.
But there is, it's where your tolerance is, and you have to know yourself and how well you manage your money.
It's not just because somebody says, oh, it's everybody's doing, that doesn't necessarily mean it really works for you. So you really want to stop and think how much I really want to spend, and how long I want to keep paying.
Exactly. And when you're looking at pricing, it's important to look at over the whole year as well. And I think we've covered a little bit of this in a previous video, where there could be up times and down times. Like for me in Digby, December, January, nobody's doing classes, nobody's doing things. They're focused on family. And people hibernate in the winter.
The weather's very tricky, so.
Exactly. Nobody wants to drive on those icy roads, and I don't blame them. So I have to plan for that, as well as summertime. People are busy with their children in the summer, and so there's like probably at least four, honestly closer to 5 or 6 months that you really don't do much business.
Or you think about different type of business at the time.
Yes,
You know,
yeah.
you offer a certain time period, you do the retail, or maybe for the tourists, and
Right.
the other time you offer the class for the local kind of thing.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So you have to make sure that you're covering those ups and downs by diversifying your product offering.
That's right.
Yeah.
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 The money is very tricky.
It is. It is.
And then it's not necessarily cheaper is better. Well, we can talk about this farther and farther. But
Yes, yeah, but that's true. I mean, because it all comes back to how people see you. Are you
That's right.
somebody who has high quality products, and where you market yourself? You know, some people, especially in the coaching, will market to only like the executive level and above, and they're charging thousands of dollars an hour, and others are more reasonable and accessible to the average person. So it's neither is wrong.
That's right.
It just is where you see yourself
Different
and
style.
exactly
Different business model and style.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and just really know who your client is.
That's right.
Yep, and know your costs.
Yeah, and what you want to do too.
That's right. And it all starts with how much you need to make every month.
Yes.
Like, what are your expectations? What do you have to sell in that month? What's that going to look like?
Yeah. So going back to what I said in the very beginning, if you have no idea how to price your product, the first step is look around.
Yeah.
Right. And then how people are pricing. That's good. But don't just take that price and then use it. You just have to do the reality check. Does it work for you?
Right.
And if it doesn't cover your cost, you have to think about then how to cover the cost in the long run. That's a more strategy. Planning. So
exactly. And you know, then you get into pricing and you have things like loss leaders where you are bringing something in that is very desirable, and you are actually selling it at below your cost, at or below your cost, so you're losing on it. But by doing that, you are bringing customers, perhaps new customers, into your business who will then be exposed to your other offerings. So I mean, that's a very valid,
very common universal method. All businesses are doing, the big successful ones doing too.
Absolutely. Look at your flyers, and you know that you get weekly.
How can they make money?
I know.
It's a loss leader.
It's a loss leader. They're not making money, but they're because you're coming in and you're getting that massive amount of toilet paper for $2.99.
Right.
You're going to buy other things while you're there.
That's more likely, and then statistics, I think, proving that.
Absolutely,
So that's a logical approach to make money, basically.
Exactly, exactly. So there's all different kinds of pricing strategies, but really it comes back down to know your costs.
That's right.
Know what you need to make at the end of the day. Do not undervalue your time.
That's right. Yeah.
I think those are the key points I would say. How about you, Yuki?
I can't say anything anymore. You stole all.
I stole them all. Yeah.
You're good. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I think budgeting pricing, we can go to a different level, but for today, I think that's good.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, and I hope you come back.
Yes.
We are going to try to keep doing this every month, and share the videos with your friends.
Yeah,
you
so
know,
send your comment, question anytime, and then
absolutely,
it's going to be quite interesting. Yes.
Yeah, we're loving to hear some feedback.
That's true. Yes. Please.
Awesome.
Okay. So
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. See you next time.
See you next time.